Hello students, welcome back to 2D video game design. Continuing on with our arcade style game here. So just to show you, I've got my arcade hero guy here and I've got the block, and let's just go ahead and play so we can remind ourselves where we are. So there's no gravity in here. I've got up, down, left, right control. And then with this block, it has a dynamic body using a rigid body and a box collider, so I can push it around. Also, I did turn on the freeze rotation on the Z axis, so that way it maintains its rotation at all times. So today I want to start talking about creating more objects here. So this block is great, but that means that my game right now is just pushing a single block around. That's not super fun. So if I want to create more of these, I can just go ahead and duplicate this a bunch of times. Oops. Duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Now I've got a bunch of blocks. They're all on top of each other. But I'm gonna go like this. Okay. All right, now I've got 4 blocks here, and you can see that they all have the same properties applied to them. So now I can go through and I can push these around, and now it's a little bit more interesting. Now, however, if I'm going through here, let's say I've been messing around with my game a little bit, and now I would like to change one of the properties of these. So I've got this stone block here, and that's all well and good, but I really wish that this had more of a red tint to it. So I'm gonna do this. Now what I have to do is go through here and change each of these. Now I could highlight all of them and then try to do this, but as my game gets more and more complicated, this is going to be harder to do. So we want to find an easier solution to this. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna delete all of those, so now I just have my one red block here. And now it's got all of the properties the way that I want. I'm gonna go back into my assets, and I'm going to create a folder for something called a prefab. This is a prefabricated asset. So now that I have the asset exactly how I want it, I'm just gonna take it and I'll grab it from the hierarchy and drag it into the prefab list. Now, what I can do is from the prefab, I can just drag these back in and I can create as many of these as I like. This is very quick. This is faster than cutting and pasting. And then when I push play, now I've got all of these and I can move them around. They all have the exact same properties. So that's great. If I go back here and okay, this was going well and I want to change this to a different color, I can go in here now. I've got the prefab selected, not one of the assets in the game. And then I'm just going to go here and change this because I want blue blocks. And you see it applies the change to everything all at once. And so any change that I apply to the prefab will apply to everything. So, for example, if I go down here to the rigid body and I decide that I want the gravity to be -1, now when I play the game, you'll see that they all fly up like that. So, using a prefab is a really good, quick way to set up something that you're going to use over and over again. And then what we'll talk about soon is what if I didn't want any of these to start in at the beginning, but I want them to appear later on, and that's something that we'll do through code in just a little bit.